Hello and welcome. We have all heard the phrase, it's important to have a good work-life balance. But in today's world, technology can make it accessible to our work 24/7. Is it just working long hours that can affect our health and relationships, or is it more to do with how we work? Many companies now are putting schemes in place to support their employees' well-being within the workplace. But it's vital that we take ownership of our own health, happiness, and comfort at work. Do you want to live your best work life? Well, today I'm talking to Helena Field, founder of Action Wellbeing, a company which aims to give you the tools, coaching, and support you need to be a well-being at work. Welcome, Helena.
Hi, thank you for having me, Keris.
That's great. So wonderful to see you. So can you tell us a little bit about well-being from your point of view? I know the word well-being, it's used in so many contexts, but what exactly does well-being mean to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think well-being gets bounced around a lot as a word, as an idea, and interpreted in very different ways. The way I interpret it is that it's about being happy, healthy, and comfortable in life. And that's actually part of a dictionary definition, but I've taken those three words and that's what I believe it to be. And then it's from that, it's how do you look after yourself to achieve those 3 points. So how you be happy, healthy, and comfortable, and therefore how do you look after your well-being to make sure you fulfill that.
Fantastic. And can you tell us a little bit about your personal journey and professional life? Because you've been working in the wellbeing industry for many years now, haven't you?
Yeah, gosh. So I've been in the wellbeing industry for 21 years, which
Oh, you
I
don't
know,
look old enough.
and it's been incredible. I started off as a personal trainer and a massage therapist, and then I worked my way up to gym manager. And then I'd always been a spa addict myself anyway. And my mum introduced me to spas when I think I was a late teen. I went to Champneys for the first time. And so I always had my eye on potentially moving in that direction. And an opportunity came up to run the men's spa at Harrods in London. And I was 26. And I was really lucky that someone took a chance on me and mentored me into the role of spa manager. And then from there, I went on to run spas such as Champneys. I did run Champneys in Tring, their flagship. And then I ran a spa called Danesfield House in Marlow, Pennyhill Park in Surrey, and then the Mandarin Oriental in London. So incredible spas. And it was wonderful because I got to actually run the treatment side plus the gym side. So there was an element of picking up on my skill sets from when I was younger. And then went on to run the UK Spa Association, which is actually the association looking after spa and wellbeing. So that was 2 years doing that before I then embarked on my own business. So I launched Action Wellbeing to help people really understand wellbeing and why it's important to look after yourself for the benefit of living your best work life. But obviously the things that we'll talk about today, Keris, well, it all links to the fact that you've got to look after yourself. And I believe you've got to do a lot to help yourself. Your company can only do so much. And so it's about having the tools to look after yourself.
Exactly. And can you just give us a few examples, basically, how you would help people on their so how you would help people to help themselves on a day-to-day basis to be well?
Yeah, I mean, because I focus specifically on the workplace, I say it's about being a well-being in work, but a lot of it also falls into your home life. If you don't get the elements right within your home life, then you can't go into work feeling rejuvenated and well. So what the techniques I share, and I'll give you a few examples, are all crossovers within your home life and within your work life. So, for example, in terms of workplace, I always look at time management, boundaries. So boundaries being protecting your time at work. People tend to over schedule their diaries. And actually, if you protect your time and schedule in time for thinking, people don't give themselves time to think. They book in meeting after meeting, but don't give themselves that time for creative thinking and just to think, so that they can actually function and be more productive. functioning in breaks, obviously, scheduling in breaks, but also scheduling in good things. So scheduling in some self-care elements throughout the day. We'll talk about that and boundaries. Saying no to things that don't serve them, because people are so easy to say yes, 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 yes. And actually, again, end up filling up their diary and doing things that distract them from what they should be doing. And in fact, we switch our attention every 3 minutes in the workplace. That's the average. There's been a study. And I can believe that, because you've got your phone pinging, your email pinging, you've got someone walking in your office, you've got, or at the moment, home working, you've got distractions, potentially people coming in and out or other things happening. And so you switch. And as a result, we're actually only productive 4 hours every day. So in a working day, to be productive for just 4 hours is mad, really. However, if that's what we are productive, let's be really productive in those 4 hours, and then use the other time wisely to support that productivity. So I'll talk about that. I talk a lot about self-care, and self-care is doing anything you can do to look after yourself. So it might be that you and everyone has, by the way, their own tools for self-care. I talk about this toolkit for self-care. What works for me doesn't work for somebody else. But for me, the things that are good for me is getting out with my dog and getting fresh air and daylight throughout the day at some point during the day. It might be for someone else having a hot bath before they go to bed. It might be switching your digital devices off for different periods so that you've got a break from the digital overload. So they're just a few things I talk about. Having routine, I think routine is really, really important. So not just let's see what happens today. Let's have some routine, because people work better with structure and routine. And then having healthy habits. So, it's looking at your nutrition, looking at your sleep, looking at even connection. Who are you connecting with? The good, are you connecting with negative people? Are you connecting with good people?
Exactly.
And
sorry.
They go, no, go.
Drain your energy, can't they? If you're
Absolutely.
hanging, obviously you want to help them and want to give so much, but if you're surrounding yourself with those sort of people all the time, that can really drain you as well, can't you?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think I found in the workplace that I was managing big teams often. I mean, the number I had was like 100 staff. And then also your customer, in my case, I was looking after a customer as well. And throughout the day, I was being bombarded, by different attitudes and behaviours from all sorts of different people. And I was absolutely fine when I was dealing with the positive, but when a negative person was coming my way, it could knock me, it could drain me. And of course, you are going to face this, but it's how you manage that, how you protect yourself, how you don't let that person override you all the time and take over that, your good energy. So yeah, it really key, Kerry, what you just said.
Excellent. And so as you're part of your scheme, obviously you look at the individual, you see how they could implement different tools and, like you say, routines into their life to help them feel more energized. But then you also work with the company, so you kind of work together. Why is it important for companies now to be looking at well-being in the workplace?
I mean, I think we've learned a huge amount in the past 12 months during the pandemic in terms of how important it is to look after staff. But beyond that, we have to keep going with this, because people need support for their mental and physical health. They need help in terms of staying engaged and staying motivated within the workplace. And of course, for a company, all that means that they're going to reduce sick levels, they're going to have higher productivity, they're going to make more money, which is obviously what companies want. But they're going to be better in their role, they're going to be more excited by their job. So it's absolutely in their best interest to look after the well-being of their staff. And my angle is that we've also then got to take an element of that ourselves and take some ownership ourselves with the support of our company.
Yeah. So I know with that, I've worked for various different companies myself, and one big company I worked with, we used to have, and I was very active in actually helping organise this, was Wellness Week for staff. And that week we'd organise lots of different little events for the staff. I mean, we made them smoothies, we did the foot massages, they could have full body massages, some of them, facials, like spa treatments, but also we put on yoga classes, we had talks on different aspects of health and well-being, and we kind of put it into, I remember in the mornings as we came in, we made like nutritious breakfast to give them as they walked through the door, and it was a great thing to do for the week. I mean, obviously not sustainable the whole year, although I wish it would have been, but it really kind of made people maybe pick up on one or two things and focus on them that they needed to bring more, you know, energy into their work life. Is that the sort of thing you encourage, or have you got any other examples?
Actually, you know, having that 1 week is incredible. And I think a lot of companies can do that. I mean, what's the issue with doing that? Bringing in external practitioners, they won't charge you. They want to showcase what they're doing. So you might bring in a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, a nutritionist, a sleep expert, you know, and just showcase what is out there for people to look after themselves. So that's a brilliant way for a company to do something. In terms of doing something more regularly, daily, weekly, I think there's little things companies can do. Just having a notice board of information is really helpful to people. Having relaxation spaces, maybe digital free zones, but really encouraging a culture of well-being. So encouraging people to take their breaks, encouraging people to actually go home and get rested for the next day. You know, a lot of it comes from management and culture, and that's actually what I think companies really should focus on if they want to get this right and help people in terms of their well-being at work. But I also think that people have to take ownership themselves, and that also means partaking in what your company's put on for you. And it's important to companies, because if they do all this, they're going to have motivated employees, they're going to have engaged employees, they're going to make more money if they do that, and they're going to have, you know, better work environment as a result. They're not going to lose people as much, they're not going to have as many sick days, so they're going to save money from that perspective. So it's in everyone's best interest to look after the well-being of the staff.
Yeah, totally agree. And our website is all about people in their 50s and beyond. So why is it particularly important in your 50s to reevaluate your work-life balance and ensure that you're keeping healthy?
It's a really interesting one, because, you know, I think, you know, in your 50s, you've probably worked for 30 years already. You know, potentially you've actually done that. You've probably raised a family and worked. You know what it's like, the pressures of overworking. You probably have experienced stress throughout your career. So I suppose, you know, if anything, you've probably got more wisdom on this subject than I do. But actually, but also you've got life experience to know that it's not worth it, that people forget the next day when there's been a drama or whatever. And I think actually it's to kind of be in that moment, enjoy your work that you're doing, try and avoid any stressors. It's not worth it to put yourself through that, and actually just enjoy the years that you're still continuing to work. I think you know, the chances are you've had health issues potentially, and you certainly don't want any moving forward. So the big thing for me, and the reason I think it's so important, is this reduced stress, because chronic stress that's can take any of us at any time is so damaging to the physical body and the mind. So actually keeping yourself calm, doing the things that help you to keep calm, managing your stress really carefully is so important. And I would say, yeah, especially in your 50s.
Fantastic. And so just to finish with, if you're able, Hannah, can you please give us like maybe 3 top tips for well-being that you have
Sure.
in the workplace?
Yeah, so for me, definitely give yourself permission to pause. We often, you know, are encouraging others to take time out and have quiet time and be calm and everything else, but we don't give ourselves permission to pause. And it's okay to take a breath, and it's okay to take time out. So I think it's that lovely sense of permission to pause, which we often don't do for ourselves. The other one is definitely digital detox. I think we are overloaded with information now. You know, in the past 30 years, it's just gone crazy, and we are cramming like 5 times more information into our brain than we were 30 years ago. So we've got to reduce that, 24-hour news, we've got our phones, our emails, etc., etc. So giving yourself time off from that. So for example, my technique is to not touch my phone till 8 o'clock in the morning. That's my earliest. Sometimes I don't even touch it till sort of 9 when I start work. At night, putting it in another room, and not, because it's so easy to pick it up at night, isn't it, and start reading messages, but also turning off notifications so that you're not reacting to every ping on your device. And actually on a Sunday I give myself a day off, so my friends know, unless I've arranged a call with them, my phone's not going to be with me, and I've got some time off, because I think it's so important to just rest your brain from that constant noise. So that's my other one. And third one would be absolutely looking at what your tools are for self-care. So what works for you for self-care? So anything that you can do to be good to yourself. So whatever that means to you, it might be a hobby, it might be baking, it might be resting and with a book under a blanket. But whatever it is, having those tools that you can use when you're feeling stressed or you just need some time out. But I actually think it should be a healthy habit. You do this every day. You give something to yourself every single day.
Fantastic. Those are really, really useful tips. Thank you so much for sharing. And if you want more information on today's video, please click on the links below, where you can find the link to Helena's website, actionwellbeing.com. And if you've enjoyed this video, please sure to subscribe, as I'm sharing more wellness experience and tips every week. So thank you, Helena.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.